I was planning to do some shot combinations today, but before getting into it, I just wanted to talk a little bit about technique. Um, Everybody should know that the way you hold your racket, so your grip, will define your style. So if I'm holding a forehand grip, right, the further I go, this is my continental grip. If I go just a little bit this way, now it becomes an Eastern grip. If I go a little bit further, it becomes a semi-Western grip. And if I grip all the way under, right, that's what they call a full Western grip. The further I go here, right, it defines not only like how far in front of me I can hit the shot, or where my strike zone would be, but it also defines where I will position myself on the court. So I give you a couple of the extreme examples. Right? If I have a grip that's an Eastern, so it's just a little bit over from your continental grip, it means I can hold my position pretty well close to the baseline. I am pretty comfortable with the low balls, maybe hip height, but I'm not that comfortable anymore up here. On the other hand, if I have this grip and I'm gripping all the way under, now I'm very comfortable hitting this high ball here, but I'm not so comfortable hitting a low ball down here. So naturally, I will position myself all the way back, way behind the baseline. The same thing applies to the backhand as well. Right? The more extreme your grip is, right, the further back on the court you will be. And just because somebody has quite an extreme forehand grip, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have quite an extreme of a backhand grip as well. And as I said before in some of the other meetings, this would be a good time to work on that grip, to get used to the grip. When you are not on the court, you don't really have to pay attention to hitting the shot, but you can get used to the grip while you're swinging with the racket. In case if you haven't done one of these sessions with me, I added some weight to my racket by duct taping or taping a magazine, a fairly thin magazines to each side of my racket. Because of that, the racket becomes quite heavy. There is that air resistance that makes the swing quite a bit harder. That is an option for you. It's not a must, it is an option. As we go through the exercises, again, go with your own pace, right? You don't have to go with my pace. Go with your own pace, get the technique right, get a good workout out of it, but it's definitely not about speed. It's about technique, it's about getting the right form, it's about all of us holding a tennis racket, swinging while we cannot get out to the court. Let's start with a little bit of dynamic stretches, and then we jump into it. All right, grab your foot in the back, push yourself all the way up. Grab your foot in the back, push yourself all the way up. And these are some of the same dynamic stretches that we do on the court without actually walking through the court. Grab that knee, pull it all the way up. In these exercises, you are stretching, but you're also working on your balance. So try not to drop, right? Try not to drop your body, but maintain your balance all the way through. Here we go, couple of kick-ups. Kick up. And you can kick up and kick back. Kick up, kick back. Here too, try to maintain your balance. To the airplane. And kicking back, again, it's not about speed. So if you're going fast, probably you should slow down. If you're going quite a bit faster than I am, you should slow down a little bit. And there are quite many exercises where the slower you go, the more challenging it becomes. Do some figure fours. From the figure four, you can go back to another airplane. Figure four, without putting the foot down, you can go back into another airplane. And if you need to find your balance by touching the ground for a split second, you can. And slowly get into the airplane. One more on each side. A few arm circles. Same thing back. A bit of upper body rotation. Right? Get a wide stance, toes are pointing forwards. Your gaze, you're looking forward. Only the upper body is rotating. All right, players, get your racket. All right, today, I hope you guys got my note. In case if you don't have dumbbells, I'm going to also use water bottles. I have 2 sets. If you have dumbbells, great. Anywhere between a 1 pound or an 8-pound weight will work. I have 2 water bottles, two sets of water bottles that I will be using. I don't know if you guys can see it through the camera. I put down a tape here. That's going to be my base because we are doing shot combinations. It's kind of like the hash mark on the court. You're coming back towards that spot, not necessarily to that spot, but somewhere in that direction. So let's start it up slowly by an open stance forehand and an open stance backhand. Open stance when the feet are right next to each. The feet are right next to each other in a wide stance. You get the full hip rotation. Nice. Start it up slowly. You can look down at your feet. Make sure the feet are in the right position. You don't have to swing hard yet. Right? Think about it on the court. We warm up without a racket, and then we warm up with the racket. And get the wide stance. Feet are wide apart. You can exaggerate. You can exaggerate your rotation. You can exaggerate how much you go down. You can check your grip. You can check your swing. Right? The swing, you take it back high, you drop it below the ball, and you swing up and forward. All right, put your racket down. Here comes the first upper body exercise. Get your weights. Right? Whatever works for you. It's kind of like a bench press. Right? To make it more difficult, the feet can be up, or you can keep your feet on the ground. And here too, you can go with your own pace. Right? You can also have your feet up in the air. If you want to make it even more challenging, you can have, with each push, you can extend one leg. I'm going to go back down with my feet on the ground. And time. A close stance forehand, a close stance backhand. Right? When you're stepping forward, it's a little bit more aggressive position. Right? You're stepping into it. You have more body weight behind the shot. Again, close that stance. After each shot, you recover back to your base. Swing at it. Swing it. As you start warming up, you can also speed up a little bit. Here to get that full hip rotation. Because of the hip rotation, you're gonna get quite a bit of shoulder rotation. And go ahead and swing at it. Close stance and swing. Again, make sure you got the right grip. You're changing forehand grip, backhand grip. Last couple. Here we go. Back on the ground. Find your weight. Very nice controlled movement. So your elbows are staying aligned. Again, there's an option to get the abs more engaged. You can have your feet up, or you can extend one leg and the other leg. Last 5 seconds. And time. Get your racket. Semi-open stance. And back at your base. Turn back and swing. Back at your base. A diagonal step back and swing. And this time, you're loading from your back leg. And this is what most players find quite challenging, loading on the non-dominant side, loading from the outside leg. So that's the left leg for right-handers and right leg for left-handers. Load from the back leg. These are the shots that you would take when your opponent is pushing you back and you're loading from the back leg. And you swing, you will be probably swinging a little bit more upwards on this shot. And the last one on each side. And get back to your weight. There we go, nice and slow. All right? This is not a race. And time. All right, grab a drink. And here we go. All right, with the next set of exercises, I would like to get back to probably the most challenging ones when you have to load from the left leg. Most players feel pretty comfortable hitting an open stance forehand and the closed stance backhand. So I would like to focus on the opposite. I hit an open stance backhand back to your base and the closed stance forehand. Here we go. Open stance backhand, closed stance forehand. Open stance when your opponent is pushing it to the side and on the forehand. You could be waiting for the ball, but you are not. You're taking a step forward and you take that forehand a little bit earlier. And what you do with that, not only that your shot becomes bigger because you got more body weight behind it, but you're taking a little bit of recovery time away from your opponent. Open stance, closed stance. And you can speed up. Once you got the footwork pattern down, you feel free to speed up. Right? If you need more time to get the feet right, then take your time. There is no rush. And when you're loading, exaggerate it. Get wider with the feet. Get a little bit more rotation in it. And time. And here we go. What's the next exercise? I got my weight. Feel free to find the one that's more comfortable for you. Feet out wide apart. Opposite arm. Opposite hand. Very common exercise for tennis players. You're engaging. You're engaging the lower body, you're engaging the core and the upper body. And make sure the kinetic chain is there. So you're pushing up with the legs first, engage the core, and eventually the shoulder and the upper back is working. Just like any other squatting exercises, your knees are not passing your toes. Here we go. Get back to our swing. And let's do the opposite. Open stance forehand, base, closed stance backhand. Open stance forehand, base, closed stance backhand. Again, go with your own pace. Speed up once you feel comfortable. Then you got the footwork pattern down. Again, make sure you're switching that grip. Forehand grip, backhand grip. Get down. And you should be feeling your legs how you're getting down. Down and push up. And put your racket down. Left arm. Wide stance. And make sure you got the stable position. You're not leaning forward. You're just bending from the knees. Upper body is straight. You go from your outside of your knee all the way across and swing it up. Swing it up. All the way down and swing it up and across. And when you go down, it's kind of like sitting in a chair. Upper body is straight. You're bending only from the knees. And you push up. You can look down and check. Your knees are staying behind your toes. And one more. And get your racket. Here we go. Close stance forehand. You move back to a semi-open stance. Backhand. Close stance forehand. Semi-open stance. Backhand. Again, start it up slowly. Get the feel of it. How you're loading from the back leg. How you are shifting your weight forward to the front leg on the forehand, back leg on the backhand. And then once you get the pattern down, you can add a little bit more speed to it. Go with your own pace. It should be challenging, but the technique should not break down. And last one, put your racket down. Right hand again. Upper body is straight. You're coming all the way across. And bring it up. Your legs should be helping you. Now it shouldn't be just upper body. Get that push with the legs first. And eventually you transfer all that power into the upper body. And two more. And one more coming up here. Back at my base. Close stance backhand. Back to the base. Semi-open stance forehand. Close stance. Semi-open. Close. Semi-open. Attack the backhand. Neutralize on the forehand. Backhand is making a little bit more flat here. Backhand. The forehand might have a little bit more arc. Close stance. Backhand. Aggressive drive. Semi-open. High and heavy. Think about stepping into a backhand return. And then you get pushed back to hit a deep forehand. To make any of these exercises more challenging, feel free to turn more, get down more, add a little bit more push on the legs. Make sure those feet are wide apart. You're gonna get a better base, and you're gonna be able to push up into the shot more. Last one. The last one coming up on the backhand side, with the left hand, right? All the way across, all the way across. You get down and you push up. Again, this is a full body motion here. Just like pretty much any shot we hit in tennis, it's a full body motion. Stay with it. And bring it all the way up. And you get down low and swing it all the way up and across. And nice job. Get a drink. Hold on. Break. Yeah. Okay, got it. Last 30 seconds or so. Players, here comes the next one. We are going to combine all closed stance and all semi-open stance shots. So with the first one, you will go back. You will go back for a forehand. You move forward with a closed stance backhand back to your base. Move back for a semi-open stance backhand. And the last shot is a closed stance forehand. Here we go, a little bit faster. Closed stance, semi-open stance. Backhand back here. And the forehand. Here we go again. Semi-open. Close. Back to the middle. Semi-open. And close stance. Here we go again. And make sure after your first backhand, you go back to the middle. Here we go. Semi-open. Close. Here we go. Semi-open. Close. Right low from the back leg. Right into it. Semi. There we go. And right back into drop your racket. Here comes the Russian twist. Right? A very common exercise for tennis players. Right? To get the full rotation. And you can keep your heels on the ground. That is an option. Or you can have your feet up in the air. Your head is still. Right? Only your weight is going side to side. And you're gently tapping your weight to the ground. And if it's too much for you, you can also put your weight down and just use your hands as you go side to side. A few more. Here we go again. Put your weight down. I would like to do one more extra. Right? The extra is stop. Here we go. Starting with the semi-open stance forehand. Backhand. Back to your base. Semi-open stance backhand. Here comes the forehand. Again, make sure you're loading. Loading from the outside leg. Right? If you're right-handed, there's the right leg on the forehand. Round. And left leg on the backhand. Semi-open. Again, semi-low. Step into it. Get down with your legs so you can push up. Now, you would often hear coaches telling you to get down with the legs. Right? The idea of getting down low is so you can push up. So get down and push right up. And last one, put your racket down. Get your weight. And you go side to side. Do it with your own pace. Having your feet on the ground is perfectly fine. If there's too much stress on your back, you can sit up more and put your weight down and do it without the weight. And time. We are doing an X, but before we would actually do the X drill, what we just did, we'll have an open stance forehand, we'll have an open stance backhand, and then we get into the semi-open, closed, semi-open, closed. Again, go with your own pace. Get the footwork first, and add speed after. Right? It is tricky. You have to pay attention to it. Here we go. Open, open, semi-open, close, back to the middle, semi-open, close. One more. Open, open, semi-open, close, back to the middle. And here we go. Put your weight down, put your racket down. Pick up your weight. And here we go, side to side. And put it down. The last one of these, we're going to repeat the last one. I know I made a few mistakes too. Open, open, semi-open, close. And after the first backhand, make sure you get back to the middle. Here we go. Open, open, semi-open, close, back to the middle. And finish with a big forehand. To the side, other side, diagonally back, diagonally forward, diagonally back, and you're stepping into the last forehand. Here we go again. And put your racket down. And just go with your own pace. Right? None of these exercises really about speed. We're trying to do the full range of motion. We're trying to do that with correct technique. And if we can do it, we can do it a little bit faster. That's fine. All right, but we are not going for speed. And put it down. And grab your towel. Grab your drink. And players, when we are working out and doing some upper body exercises with weights, right? Many of these exercises can be done with dumbbells, with some kind of weights. With you can use rubber bands. You can use multiple exercises. Some players use those kettlebells, and there are many other equipment out there. For tennis players, the idea is when we are hitting a shot, and we are using the front muscles to accelerate, and we are using the smaller back muscles to decelerate. And many tennis players get overdeveloped muscles up front and not as developed back there. So when we are doing exercises, when you are doing exercises, right, make sure you're working those back muscles as well. Here comes the next combination of shots. A forehand and the forehand inside out. Back to your base, step out to a forehand, get back behind you with a crossover, step back behind you. Get to an inside out forehand. Watch this step. I'm turning to the right, stepping with a crossover, step back behind me to hit the inside out forehand. And open stance, back to the middle. Now usually end up hitting it with a semi-open stance, because that doesn't really give away where you're gonna hit the shot. Here we go. Forehand on the forehand side, forehand on the backhand side. Nice big forehand on both sides. Make sure you're still low. Make sure as you're getting deeper into the practice, make sure you're still getting down low. Make sure you're still pushing up. And hit the shots that you usually hit. Make minor adjustments. And make sure you're not going for so much bigger, so much harder than you would normally hit. Last one. Put your racket down. Get your weight. All right, here comes those back muscles. All right, you pull that back. Pull it back. Again, the knees are staying behind your toes. The upper body is straight. And you pull it back. You drop the weights in front of your knees. And you pull it back up. You feel how your shoulder blades are squeezing together. You do not need big weights for this one. And if you feel some kind of a tension in your knee, make sure that you put your weight more on your heels, less on your toes, and more on your heels. A few more. And time. A backhand back to your base, and an inside out forehand back to your base, step back behind you, hit it, backhand. You can exaggerate your turn as you're doing these exercises. And quite many of you can benefit from getting more turn on your shots. Pretty much every shot in tennis starts with a turn. A few more. And swing at it. And put your racket down. Get your weights. Before you start, make sure you find your nice, stable, balanced position. The back is straight, feet are planted into the ground. Knees stay behind your toes. Bring it up. Bring it up. And as a tennis player, probably your left side is getting more tired than your right side if you're right-handed. Right? Our dominant side for tennis players is quite a bit stronger. And that's why it's important when you do weights, use dumbbells, use single weights. Right? So you cannot compensate with your stronger side. Here we go. Put your weights down. Here comes a combination. Think about an inside out forehand, back to the middle, and inside in forehand, back to the middle, and the forehand cross court. Here we go again. Inside out. It's kind of like a cross court. Inside in, kind of like a down the line, and get up and hit your forehand. Inside out, middle, inside in, and back to the forehand. Inside out, side in. And as you notice, I speak a little bit less during this more complex footwork exercises. It takes quite a bit of attention to make sure that you get your footwork pattern right. One more. Inside out, inside in, down, and big forehand. Put your racket down. Right, find your base. Right, nice balanced position. And bring it up. And make sure the back is straight. Again, the knees are staying. Staying behind your toes. Your balance is more on your heels than on your toes. Right, the muscles that you're working right now, we use them on the forehand to decelerate the racket. Right, we use these shots and these muscles on the backhand, especially one-handers. Right, you will need these muscles. One-handed backhand slice, one-handed backhand volley, and obviously the one-handed topspin backhand. And put your weights down. Get a drink. And good work. And good job staying with it. Yes, speed is now one of the major objectives here. Right? Getting the motion right, getting the technique right is important. If you can today, if you can swing with the right grip, if you can have the right stance while we are doing this exercises, if you can have the right motion, you're doing well. If you want to work, make it a little bit more challenging, you can add a little bit more turn. You can get a little bit lower. You do not have to go faster. Right. Get your racket. Right. You go back to your base. And we are going to hit approach shots. Right. With a closed stance. And this time, I'm asking you to do a little hop. Come a little further back so you can see me. One on the forehand. One on the backhand. Back. And a little hop. Right. If there's too much for you, you can also stay down on the ground. Right. If you don't have too much space, like I do, I will choke up on my racket a little bit just to make sure I don't hit anything here. And close your stance. I still have a forehand grip. I still have a backhand grip. I'm just holding the racket higher than I usually do. Again, once you get the footwork pattern down, you can add a little bit of speed to it. Close your stance. Close your stance, and it's a hop. Hop from the front foot and land on the front foot. And the landing on your forehand is very similar than the way you should be landing after your serve. And if the hop is too much for you, do the exercise with me, but stay on the ground. One more on each side. And if you want to make it more challenging, on these exercises, spend a little bit more time in the air. This time, I will ask you to find a smaller weight. And we are doing these rotator cuff exercises. Bring it straight, bring it back. Now you will see players on all different ages, levels, doing these rotator cuff exercises. Often you will see players doing this as part of their warm-ups, and you will see them doing that as part of the exercises. And the idea is that the elbow doesn't move. It's 90-degree rotation. Working the small muscles in your shoulders. And put it down. Close stance forehand. With a hop if you can. Change your grip. And a hop from the back foot. Hop on the front foot. Hop on the back foot. Hop on the front foot. Hop on the back foot. And close stance forehand. Semi-open stance backhand with a hop. And move back. And once you get the hang of it, you can speed up a little bit. Do not allow the technique to break down. If you feel like you can do more, make that hop a little bit higher, a little bit more explosive. If it's too much for you, stay on the ground as you're doing it. Couple more. Last one each. And put your racket down. Here we go again. With a smaller weight, still get the wide stance. And the lower body needs to be stable. Lower body needs to be balanced. Often there's a tendency of doing too much with the elbows. Elbows stay at the same place. Your wrist is straight. So don't try to wrist it. It is not a wrist exercise. It's for the shoulder. Just 90 degrees. You don't have to get it behind your ears, and you don't have to drop it below shoulder height. And put your weights down. Close stance backhand with a hop. Semi-open stance with a hop. And a hop on the front foot, hop on the back foot. And last time we were hopping only on the left leg. And this time we are hopping only on the right leg. You can spend more time in the air. Making sure the technique doesn't break down. Upper body is still straight. Your head is still. You might be swinging, you might be turning, you might be getting down low. Right? But your head is still. Last few. And one more. And put your racket down. Get your right stance. It is a controlled movement. Make sure you don't let momentum take over. Four, three, two, one, and time. Get your towel. You can bring your towel with you. You can bring your drink with you. And we are going to stretch it out. And we're going to start it up by just allowing your upper body weight to collapse and stretch your legs and stretch your lower back. On this position, take a big step forward into a lunge step. Put your hand down. Get your elbow in between your hand and your foot and push that elbow down. So you got a hand, an elbow, and the foot. Put your hand down and open up. And then do that opposite rotation. Open up. You can look right up on the top of your fingers. Put your hand back down. Step forward into a forward bend. And step back. Step back into a lunge step. Again, a hand, an elbow, and a foot. Push the elbow down. Put your hand down and open up. Look right up. Make sure those back toes, are not opening up with you. The back toes are still pointing forward as you are turning and reaching up. And if it's too much for you, you can also have your knee on the ground. Put your hand down, step forward into a forward bend. Grab your hands behind you and pull it back. And slowly straighten up. Get your hands and reach forward. And see if you can keep it up. And drop your shoulders. Make sure the shoulders are not up by your ears. Drop the shoulders and reach forward. And reach up. Up, up, up. While you're reaching up with your fingers, with your palms, see if you can drop your shoulders. Stay with it. You might feel a slight burn in your shoulders. Stay with it. And good work. Relax. Back behind you. And this one you can look up as you're pushing down with your hand, pushing your head back. And switch. You see if you can look up. And players, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for joining me.
Thank you.
It's a lot more fun doing it together.
Thank you.
Thank you.